Hello there. Thank you so much for stopping by our channel. What is the purpose of Nonsense Word Fluency? Well, today we're going to talk about exactly that. We are in the midst of our Cracking the Code series where we are understanding how to support our earliest learners in their journey, not only to language acquisition and early literacy skills, but how to share what they know through something such as a benchmark assessment like DIBELS. My name is Jenny. I'm an early childhood educator. I'm a dyslexia interventionist. We're so glad to have this conversation today. Well, depending on what time of the year it is, if I'm working whole group, small group, or one-on-one with students, I'm going to scaffold this lesson around my students' needs. And today we're going to focus on kindergarten. We're just working with short vowel A. A, ah, ah, ah. A, ah, ah, ah. We're going to go down the pouch with our movable alphabet. We're going to add that short vowel sound in the middle. Consonant, vowel, consonant. Consonant, vowel, consonant. A, ah, ah, ah. A, ah, ah, ah. A, ah, ah, ah. A, ah, ah, ah. At the beginning of the year in kindergarten, I would start with known phoneme sounds that we have practiced that my students are ready to start blending together. So after we've reviewed and isolated that middle sound, ah, now we're going to start trying our consonant-vowel-consonant nonsense word blending. P, ab, pab, d, ag, dag, s, av, sav, j, ad, jad, ag, mag. Now some students will be able to do this pretty naturally and easily by keeping their voice on and blending the sounds together. Other students will struggle, and so I want to show you a way to differentiate this skill and to break it down even further. So this is where you should begin, but if a student's struggling, you can go to vowel consonant blends and just go from the vowel to the consonant. Start here. Ab, ab, ag, ag, av, av, ad, ad, ag, ag. And this is a progressive skill for those students who are not quite ready to go all the way to a CVC word. You'll focus your efforts on just the vowel consonant, and eventually you'll build to CVC words. When your student is ready, it's important to introduce the slight variation that occurs with short vowel A, when it's followed by the letter N or the letter M. That short vowel A sound changes just slightly. There's a slight variation followed by that nasal. It turns into a more nasally, whiny sound. Some teachers call it the whiny A because there's a nasal sound when it's followed by N. For example, and because the air is being pushed through the nose. So, an, san, z, an, zan, v, am, vam, g, am, gam. So the sound changes just a little bit. It becomes a nasal sound or a whiny sound. Depending on the age of your student and the progression of their skills, the next step is to review all 5 short vowel sounds. Typically in kindergarten, for the students that I've had the pleasure of teaching, it is by the middle of the year that they have a pretty good command of those short vowel sounds. This is something that happens slowly over time. Now, if it's an accelerated reader or an advanced student, they may have these short vowel sounds sooner. It just depends. But for our example today, I'm going to say that this is an example in the middle of the year in kindergarten. And for some students, it's towards the end of the year, just depending on their individual needs. So once my students are ready to start blending words with all 5 short vowel sounds, I would begin by reviewing those short vowel sounds. A, E, I, O, U, The next thing is I might invite my students in a small group to make the CVC nonsense words. So that would be my next step. So now that students have created some nonsense words that are consonant-vowel-consonant, then we will practice blending these. Remember, if a student starts to struggle or get stuck, go back to just vowel-consonant words. For example, let's say we start here and a student gets stuck. Z, n. Sometimes that will happen where the student will isolate the 3 sounds instead of blending them continuously. And sometimes a strategy that will work is go back to the vowel consonant and, there's that nasal sound because of the N. And then add the initial sound back on. So watch. It changes because there's the N, and. Now let's add our first sound, Z, and, zan. So that's a strategy if a student gets stuck, go back to the vowel consonant and then add the initial sound. It really works. Med. Again, if a student's stuck, ed. Now let's put that initial sound back on. Ed, med. Iv, fiv. That's an unusual nonsense word. Raj, tuz. So sometimes we'll laugh and giggle about the nonsense words, but it's really important as teachers that we understand the value of it. And for me in the classroom, before I really realized how nonsense words leads to the next skill that's coming at the end of kindergarten, beginning of first grade, or for advanced readers a little bit sooner, but syllabication and starting to understand how these could become parts of really big words. For example, medical. So it's not something we're really explicitly teaching yet, but it helped me as an educator to understand how this is laying the foundation, laying the stepping stones to the skills that will be coming. So that's why it's really important for us as educators to understand why this has value. So I've shared with you how my cloth pouch and my movable alphabet for Matry Learning can help support students in their practice and understanding of nonsense word fluency. Well, we're going to wrap up practicing that fluency, but let me again share the reason why indicators use nonsense words is because nonsense words enable students to decode and blend. Sometimes when we have students who are really good memorizers or what we call word callers, sometimes we can miss their struggle to decode or blend words. And decoding and blending words is often an early predictor that there might be a reading difficulty. And sometimes, surprisingly enough, sometimes we miss students who appear to be really great readers who are actually really great word callers and maybe lacking the ability to blend unknown words. So nonsense words helps to identify those students or show an indicator that that could be a difficulty for them. So I'm going to show you now in conclusion how the pouch and the movable alphabet help crack the code to nonsense word fluency. You'll see here I've prepared both sides with CVC nonsense words where we're teaching our students that the vowel is short in these consonant-vowel-consonant words. And on a benchmark assessment, this is usually a 1-minute timed indicator. At the beginning of the year, this is going to be very, very hard for kindergartners, for most kindergartners. By the middle of the year, we should see a lot of progress. By the end of the year, this should be relatively easy, and students should be to a point where they're getting ready to read the whole word instead of going sound by sound. Typically, if a student is not there by the end of the year in kindergarten, we need to look a little bit closer at where the difficulties are. So, for cracking the code for my Nonsense Word Fluency, I could practice in class by setting a 1-minute timer and having my students practice these words. If they get to the end of the pocket chart and they still have time, they can keep going and see how many they get. Now, if I am a reader who has mastered this and I'm ready to start reading the whole word, I should. Pab, dag, sag. I hope this cloth pouch and movable alphabet ideas have helped you crack the code for your understanding of nonsense word fluency and how you can best support your students in their journey to decoding and blending those words. Well, until next time, be kind, be brave, and go love teach. Be sure to like and subscribe to our channel, and we'll see you again real soon. Bye!